So Jay, tell us the synopsis of the film.
Well, the film is about this therapist who tries this unconventional approach to treating a criminal patient of hers. So he's like this repeat offender, and they have gone through every possible way to help him, and he's kind of suicidal right now. He doesn't. He was afraid to go back to prison
Right.
because of the crime he committed, and so they try this very unusual approach to therapy, and it has a sort of a profound effect on her, on him, and the guy who designed the therapy. He's like a sort of a shady businessman in a
Right.
cowboy hat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us about the casting process, and I mean, in very your actors and your actresses in the film are very pivotal to what's going on in this film.
Yeah. So like the main actor, Richard, he was cast very late on actually because we'd have some trouble casting that role in particular. I think it was a little bit easier to cast the other two roles, although we did go through a process where we were deciding whether it was going to be like non-union or union. And after like just looking at the actors that were available to me, it had nothing to do with union or non-union. It's just like I liked the choices that I got. So yeah, for him, he came in very late on. I think maybe even like 2 weeks before the actual rehearsal, and then we shot. I think maybe a few days after that.
Right.
So I'd seen his. I guess we'd received a lot of like reels and stuff, and I basically just saw his reel by accident because I was a little frustrated trying to find because it wasn't really what I had in my head, and we had found an actor I thought was really great as well, but there was something like missing that I was kind of I wanted to try out just to see if there was somebody else, and I found his reel and I took a look at it and I was just like, I feel like this is the guy.
Yeah.
So we'd had some conversations, and so he ended up being very pivotal to this because I think he does a great job, as the other two actors do, and they all have challenging roles. He has a challenging role that is very different than the other two, obviously. So I mean, it's very hard for you to humanize with his character sometimes, but I think he does a really great job with it. He's very childlike almost
Yes.
in it. Yeah. So.
Absolutely. Talk about the actual script writing process and to making this, and this because it's a very unique subject, of course.
So basically, the script process, it was an idea that it wasn't just me that came up with it. It was my friend and I were discussing this one morning. He's a filmmaker as well. He's actually shooting his first feature right now in England. He's from the UK.
Nice.
And so just a little bit of background on that. So him and a buddy had met. So I'd met him at Cannes, not the one I was working with, the producer, but a friend of his, and then we kind of met again at TIFF, and so he introduced me to Ivan, the producer on this film, and they were both from England, and we had just started spending a lot of time hanging out together, and so we had been discussing doing another short film and working together, like either he was going to direct it or I was going to direct it, but I'd write it.
Yeah.
And so we'd just had a few failed starts, and one morning we were just talking about this particular concept that the film is, and I was like, there's no way I can make this a movie. This is nuts. Like, then we're like, if you make it, there's not going to be another film like it, right? So I said, okay, I'll go away and I'll write a script, and if it's not good, we're not gonna do it. If it's just too gross, we're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And so I went and I wrote the script, and based on the idea we had discussed, and I sent it back to him, and he's like, yeah, we got to do this.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so that's how it kind of started, and then we went back and forth. He gave me some notes, and I made some tweaks. Usually I write alone, so this was kind of nice to. I mean, I was still doing a lot of the dialogue, the writing and stuff, but like maybe he was giving me pointers on how to maybe make it a little bit more commercial or better, or flow a little bit better, it was nice to have that extra voice in there. So,
Absolutely. I know in short films, it's well, when it comes to sound, a lot of people put a lot of effort into the sound because it's their first short film or it's their, it's their one and only baby. So talk about the effort and the work you put into making the sound of this movie like really fantastic.
yeah, that was something that was very important to me from the get-go because there was a short that we were planning on doing last year. We didn't end up doing, but like I'd become very obsessive with sound. I mean, I was always like paid particular attention. Like I don't think I had a film that doesn't sound good.
Right.
But I really wanted to do something like very impressive with the sound because of Twin Peaks: The Return, which I love the sound in that, and I knew I probably wouldn't be able to do anything that close, but I know that he was heavily involved in it, and so I definitely took that more of approach. I worked with some great guys. It's a team called Atobot Productions, and the sound recordist was Dominic Caterina, and then I worked with his partner in the company, Zach, and we just worked together and we went through it. And there's so much like back and forth. Like we really refined the sound, and I don't know, I just wanted this like quietness to it. It was unsettling. I didn't want too much music. I think we had some music towards the end. I probably would have even scaled back on the music a little bit, but I think it works in that particular case. But yeah, I mean, the sound was definitely important right from the beginning.
Can you tell us what was your primary challenge in the film?
The subject matter, I'd say. The subject matter, well, I won't go into it pretty deeply. It's definitely not a subject matter that's discussed a lot in film today. It has been, and it's been done well, and it's been done terribly. But I think that it's just a very sensitive subject, and it was also one of the few films where like I don't really have a personal connection to that, aside from the fact that what Arthur, the main character, is suffering from in the story. I had I don't know, he wasn't a teacher, but I had a teacher that was arrested for that particular crime.
Oh, wow.
So it was very, after that, I mean, I'd always had this idea of like doing a story sort of like that. And then when he brought up the concept of, when I was speaking with Ivan, when we were discussing this initially, it was definitely a story that we realized it was going to be a very tough sell. Like even now, like I don't, you really have to kind of look past the subject matter almost, but it's really just to like tell a story of a real like human being who is, has difficulty controlling his desires. And I think people can identify with that part as much as anything, but I think everything else, I mean, everyone has their ideas about like what it's about, and I give different opinions based on each. So all the characters kind of represent a point of view, and so so it was the subject matter that was the toughest, I would say, and also getting the production and getting the actors together. Like I sent it to a bunch of actors, and they're like, "No way!" They're like, "No, not at all." I even had one that was like agreed to it, and then he's like, "I think about it. No." But that's what I appreciated about all the people who worked on this, is that they were really brave. They didn't, like I thought they were just like, coming in and working on the project, but they all seemed to have their own opinion about the subject matter. And it was great to just hear their different views on it. Because I always asked them about the script. I was like, listen, you can work on whatever, but like, what do you think about this? And then they give me their opinion and that sort of thing. So I think it was the subject matter that was definitely problematic, but we managed to get things together.
Nice.
Obviously money too, but that's always the case, right?
So Jay, tell us where we can find your film.
You can find it right now. So we just started submitting to festivals. It was actually part of the Canada Telefilm's Not Short on Talent Cannes 2019. So they just took about 15 short films to Cannes just to kind of promote them. Hopefully get us into some good festivals. And yeah, so we just started submitting. And so you can find us right now. We're on Facebook. We try and update fairly often. We have an Instagram page as well. It's called Lifelike Film, the Instagram. And it's just the Lifelike on Facebook. And then you have the website as well. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that one. I think it's my friend's production company, www.kentucky.co.uk/lifelike.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Jay, and good luck with your film.
Yeah, thank you.